Hi everyone. So I decided I wanted to start like a new series for me that is basically called TBR Clean Out. TBR Clean Out. I've seen people do a TBR Clear Out. Like, I've seen people do like readathons and stuff. But mine is going to be Clean Out. Like, I am cleaning out my TBR because I have books that just keep sitting and sitting and sitting on my shelves, and I'm not reading them, especially because some of them got like way overhyped or too popular to where I'm just like, I swear some popular books have done me dirty. They have done me dirty. I'm like, why was this popular? Why? So, yeah, I have had that happen to me where I'm like, man, y'all done me dirty because this sucked. So, because, everybody's tastes are different, So, what I find enjoyment in, someone else may not find enjoyment in, so, So, for me, it's like, I need to get through the books, and if I don't like the book, get rid of it, just get rid of it, sell it. There's a place that's by me. They don't give you a lot for the books, I will say that, fuckers, but but they do at least give you some cash for it, so I at least get some of my money back, maybe not all, but some of my money back. So, the first one I'm going to be doing is this one, The Love Hypothesis. Now, people were, like, making, like, this big thing about, well, she's, like, a PhD, she's in STEM, and I'm just like, I don't fucking care what the woman does as career. I care about the romance, okay? I don't care about that stuff. Women in science, awesome. I don't care. There were women that were in fucking, like, space stuff, I mean, I don't care about that stuff. So, I need to get into it and see. So, I figured I can get into, like, try to read at least the first 5 chapters of a book. And if I am not into the book within the first 5 chapters, I ain't never going to get into the book, so I might as well just DNF and move on. So, that's what I'm going to plan on doing. So, chapter 5 right here is, let's get to it. See, this is chapter 4. That's how much, for chapter 4. So, I mean, you're talking like, come on. 84 pages in, it gets to like chapter 5. So 84 pages in, if I cannot get into the book, then it's going. Then it's going, and then I'm moving on with my life and doing something else, because I don't want to waste my time on books that I'm not finding enjoyment in. TNF and move on. There you go. So this is my first one. I've already, last night, I went through like 4 books. I went through 4 books, and I was like, I'm not feeling these at all. I read how many chapters, and I was like, Like, one, within the first chapter, the heroine annoyed the fuck out of me. I was like, no. I really have to mesh well with characters. Like, some people may be like, oh, well, the character annoys me, but they can keep reading the story. No. If there's a character that annoys the ever-loving crap out of me, I can't continue on with the story, because it's too much of a distraction. I can't, like, immerse myself into the story if that character is annoying the fuck out of me. So, yeah, can't do that. So, it's going to be like that with every book I read, if there's a character that I'm just like, oh, you know, then I can't do it. Can't do it. So I'm starting off with this one. I've how many more? There's a book on my list that someone did a review of, and they were like, they weren't really liking it. So I'm like, I got a feeling I might be in that same boat where I may not like the book. And if I don't like it, okay, I'm going to get rid of it. Another thing I swore to myself I'm going to do this year, no traditionally published books. None. Pick up 0 traditionally published books. Because they all look like this. They all look like illustrated covers. And it's boring. So boring. Some of them are so bad, it looks like a preschooler drew them. I mean, honestly, who are they hiring to do the marketing of these books? My eldest, who's going to be 10 this year, can draw better than that. So, one of them, it's like, it was so bad, it looked like this guy was supposed to have like a tattoo sleeve. It looked like he was wearing a fucking sweater. I mean, honestly. Come on. So, I'm going to be attempting to read this. May take me a little long time to read it because I am also reading a book on my Kindle. So I like to read my Kindle at night because it helps with my eyes. So that way I'm not like having a flashlight on the book and all that stuff. So I can, it makes it easier for me to read, So it makes it easier for me to read on my Kindle at night, and all that stuff. So at night I'm reading one book. In the daytime I'll be reading that book. I'll be reading this one here and see if I can actually get through 5 chapters. We will see. We will see. And then also what I'm going to also be reading soon is this. Because it's a graphic novel, I figured I can get through this like pretty quickly because it's mostly pictures, So I wanted to support Julia Quinn because, her sister, her father, and Julia Quinn's like brother-in-law all died in a car accident. So it's tragic. So I wanted to support the author by buying this and reading it. So this is a first for me. I've never read like a graphic novel, like romance. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it and see. So I'm, I might get through this here pretty quickly and do a review on it and all that stuff. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, to me, it's like me getting rid of like a bunch of books is like exorcising the demons. Okay. So that's the way I kind of think about it, because I love to collect books, love collecting books, but I also get to the point where it feels overwhelming to me. And I'm just like, I don't know what to read next. There's so many books I want to get to that I can't. I wish I had like multiple brains where I can read like multiple books at the same time, but I just can't do that. So sometimes it's hard to get through a book because I'm like, I don't know what I want to read. I don't know. Does this sound good? Does that sound good? I don't know. So because I'm such a mood reader, that's pretty much how it is. And so yeah. So I will say the next clip I do, when I get back to you, I either got through 5 chapters and I want to continue on with the book, or I DNF'd it and I decided to read something else, because I think that's going to be pretty much like what's going to happen for how many of these books is I'm probably going to end up DNFing them like I did the 4 last night. So, yeah. We're going to see what happens. We are going to see what happens. But, yeah. Anyways, I will let you all know later how things have progressed. Okay. Update. Woo! So this book, I'm DNFing it. I am DNFing it, and I don't care. After I got past, like, chapter 1? Yeah, when I got past chapter 1, I just didn't care. So I've been skimming I was skimming all to chapter 5. All to chapter 5. So I decided to, when I get to the point where I'm like, I don't care about this book. So I skim. So I was skimming through to try to get to the intimate scene, just to see. And I kind of read that, and I was like, okay, it was alright. So I get to this one scene where this guy is basically blackmailing Olive. Oh, well, now that, I accepted you into this program, you got to do things for me. And I'm like, oh, come on. To me, that's a typical trope that you use in a romance, where it's let's go and add some drama to the story. So we're going to have man bad, and let's not tell anybody that he's basically blackmailing you. Can't tell Adam because that's his friend. And I'm just like, no. I do not like this heroine. She is such a weenie. She's so weak. And I'm like, how is this chick smart to where she wants to be a scientist? I just, yeah. I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. I don't get why people gave this 5 stars. I don't see it, And now I could do slow burn. I could do slow burn if it's there. And I don't feel it in this. It's all about her PhD stuff. And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. And then her friend, and I'm just like, I don't mind Adam. I don't mind him. He seems smart, a little aloof. People are like, oh, he's so mean. And I'm like, no, he probably actually takes the field seriously. Because there are people who try to, it's kind of like with any field, there's always the people who are the fucking posers, there are always people out there who just care about having a name for themselves. I'm sure there's probably people in science who are like, oh, I want to discover this so that way my name is on this. I think that's what it is, because doctors do the same thing. There's people who are doctors who are like, I'm a doctor. And it's like, so fucking what? Who cares if you're a doctor? Do you save lives? Awesome. Good for you. But it's there are people out there in different fields who it's they're very much ego driven, not for actually helping people, but ego driven. And so Adam just seems from what I could tell from him, he seems he cares about his field, And for her, she's just such a ding dong. I'm just like, how did this girl pass science class? I don't know. I'm not feeling that. No, I can't get on that hype train. I'm sorry. So then I'm decided I'm going to go into this one here. I checked the Goodreads reviews. It gets a 2.91 on the review scale. 2.91. This is going to be bad. This is going to be so bad. I may only get a chapter in and be done with this one. So, yeah, we're going to see how this goes. This is going to be basically a vlog of me just DNFing books. Yeah. So, pretty much going to be it. Yeah, a booktuber that I follow was like, she was not into this book at all. I think she gave it like 2 stars, and I'm just like, oh wow. And you know what I find that's kind of weird is the author has her photo like on the back, which is like, okay, cool, you know, that's awesome, you know. But then there's like a whole big ass picture in the back, and I'm like, why? Why 2 spots? I don't get that. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's weird. Very weird. So yeah, I think for me, it's, I might, if I can make it through like 1 chapter in this, it probably will be a fucking miracle. So we will see how this goes. But I am not holding out any hope that I will like this book. So there is that. So yes, I will update you later on what happened. So yeah, see you later. So update, I did have this one. This one here just kind of reminded me of like women's fiction and not really a romance. I could not get into it. The heroine is just kind of like all over the place. And the guy who follows with her is like a sucker. I'm like, this guy's a idiot. You know, so yeah, I'm not digging this. I didn't have that one. So I decided to pick up this one here. And I'm liking it so far. I am liking it. This is funny. It's making me laugh out loud. So we have like these characters of Violet. She is basically a magicless witch. So she's got a family of witches, but she has no powers. So she has a couple of other sisters they're basically triplets. And so she's the one that does not have any superpowers. So her and her family are like on this ski trip. And she bumps into Lincoln. I think that was his name, right? Lincoln. Yeah. Lincoln Thorne. And he is a wolf shifter. And I guess they've kind of grown up around each other. And they kind of left, you know, kind of like haven't seen each other. It's kind of like bad terms and stuff. And so for him, he sees her after how many years, and he's like, oh, she's gotten more beautiful, more gorgeous. And she looks at him like, you know. It's funny. So far, it is funny. I am enjoying it. I'm on chapter 2, and I do like it. It's supposed to be like a fake dating trope. Like, I guess they're going to pretend to date so that way her mom will, like, not bug her about, like, finding a mate and stuff. So far, I'm enjoying it. It is funny. It has a great sense of, like, humor in here. And that's what I do like if it's going to be like, sometimes I like the romantic comedies where something's going to make me laugh out loud. And so far, I've been like, I laughed at like their interaction with each other. Once she realizes who it is, she's just like, you know, just gives him the finger salute. I just thought it was funny. I'm just like, this is good. I like this one. So far, I like it. So, that's good. After all this DNFing, I finally found something that I think is pretty good. So, I'm going to see. I need to get through about half the book, and then I can kind of, like, update you a little bit more and, like, you know, how I'm liking it. But, yeah. So far, chapter 2, I like it, which is good. And, yes, this book is going to go bye-bye. So, yeah. I will update you all when I'm about halfway through the book, and then I can explain a little bit more of the story. So yeah, I will talk to you all later. Okay, update. So I've cut my hair. Oh, I had to. But it's driving me nuts though. The thing I have in my hair, it drives me nuts sometimes. I get like it's too tight. That drives me crazy. But I went and I cut my hair the other day. It was driving me nuts. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that I do not like my hair super long. It just drives me crazy. So I get to the point where I have to like cut off like my hair, especially in the summertime, where it's like, it's just on my neck and it's just like, it drives me nuts. So I have to like trim it, and it feels better. So much better. So much better. So anyways, I have not done a whole bunch with this book. I'm on like chapter 6 right now. Here's my bookmark. I'm on chapter 6 right now, so not really much has happened after my last clip with this book here. I will say, like, the heroine is definitely a hot mess. She's definitely a hot mess. She was skiing down this hill because she stupidly went on this one lift area to something high up. And it's like, look, I don't ski at all. Anything that moves underneath my feet, I don't do well in. I don't do well when it comes to skating, skateboarding, anything that's got something slippery underneath my feet, and I cannot, I don't do well. So I know with skiing, there's more of like, you're more of an expert skier, so you can do more of the steeper slopes. And then there's like the bunny area, which is like you suck at skiing, like the bunny area where it's like, I would say it's for the type of chicks who obviously like to take pictures in their gear, like skiing. And I'm like, no, you're not, honey. You're on the bunny slopes. You're not really doing much skiing there. So, there's those types of people. And then there's the ones who are like the professional experts, that are up on those steep slopes. Heck to the no, I'm not doing that. So she goes down the area that is for experts, and she ain't no expert. And so the wolf shifter ends up, his name was Lincoln. Lincoln ends up catching her. He ends up like stopping her. And so she, has a past with him. So with this one here, it's like, from what I'm getting is they kind of got a little bit involved, and his father is a huge douche canoe, type of person, and basically was like, basically blackmailed Lincoln and saying like, something will happen if you continue on with this relationship with this, woman. So they had, her and Lincoln and, what's her name again? Violet. Violet and Lincoln haven't seen each other in some time. And she's a bit bitter. I don't blame her. But of course, she doesn't know the full story of what went down. And so, of course, it's a bit of like miscommunication, because she's thinking one thing, he knows the truth of what went down, he's not explaining it. So there's that. And right now she works at this one place that is like, I guess she's like volunteering at this one place that I'd say it's like a, kind of like a boys and girls club, I guess you can call it, where they're helping out, young boys and girls and all that stuff. So she was dealing with these parents that were like, you know, do you know who I am? You know, kind of thing, where it's like they're paying into like this facility, so they kind of think that they own it. And it's like, just because you went and gave funding doesn't mean that, you know, your kid can be a little dick. So yeah. So she was dealing with that, and then Lincoln had come in and was kind of like, what's going on here? So it's kind of that going back and forth with each other. So obviously they're going to create this like fake dating thing. Hasn't happened yet. She's still kind of like, she hates him with the fire of 1,000 suns, you know, thing. So I kind of like took a step back from this book for a little bit, only for the fact that I am trying to get through this one book that I'm reading on my Kindle, because I am behind on some books. I'm so behind on books. So I'm reading right now on my Kindle the Rycke. It's book 3 in the Monstrous series by Mayne. So that one there, I'm trying to get through. What am I at right now? I think I was at 40 something percent. Yeah, I'm almost at 50%. And so with this one here, we have these humans that they're like, you know, they're living in the wastes, and they're kind of like, I'd say, scavengers. So you got the character of Ghost and Rycke, and they go to the military base area to see if like they can kind of scavenge anything, you know, anything that like they can use, you know, kind of thing. And they run into this monster that is chained up, and I guess you could say kind of reminds me of the first monster from the first book, the Soul Eater. When this creature is like tall, very skinny, has kind of like bird type of feet. The feet are kind of like bird-like, and he has wings, like these black wings. His one wing is kind of messed up, so obviously it's mutilated. I'm not sure if like it could heal properly or not, or if it's like he can't fly. But he's kind of messed up, and so I'd say Ghost and Rycke feel sorry for it, and they're like, hey, let's help this creature, you know. It looks very docile. It doesn't look very like, it is very intimidating, but it also seems like it's scared more of them than they are of it. So they go and they free this monster, and they take it back to their area where they're staying at, and they have like a bunch of cast of characters. You've got like ones that live in this area that cook. There's like two cook people. This other one who's a total dick that's like, oh, you're bringing a monster in here and we don't want this monster. And some other cast of like characters. I think there might be a little too much going on in the story, so I kind of like, I think the story's a little boring because you've got like all this stuff kind of going on. And then you got the woman who's like running the place. I can't remember her name. I think it starts with an A, but I'll have to put it down here because I cannot for the life of me remember her name. I remember the other person, but I don't remember her name. So her and this other person named Kat basically created this area with the help of the monster. Like once Ghost came back with Rycke, he had to kind of like tell her like, hey, you know, we found this monster. Can we bring the monster in? And once he explained what the monster looked like, she was like, yeah, bring that person in. And then she went and was like, hey, I know this monster. This monster helped us years ago. It helped us build this area. And so you don't know how this creature got basically got taken and put in the military and was like tortured in there like a freaking lab rat. And so you don't know the full truth of that, like how he got captured. And then they started calling the monster like one. because he had like on the side of him, they obviously branded their creatures, you know, their experiments basically. They obviously branded them with numbers, and he was 001. Kind of reminds me of Stranger Things, if anybody knows what 001 is in season 4. So the character is like very tall, pale. He said like super pale, has like this long black hair that kind of hides itself in its hair, you know, is like really shy and meek. And has like the long black hair, but also has like purple, or not purple in it, has like green in it. So I'd say has probably like highlights of green in one's hair. So they start calling him One, because they didn't know what his name was, because he wasn't speaking. And so Ghost is attracted to One. And so there, you know, you could clearly see like the attraction. They keep staring at each other, you know, so they clearly are attracted to each other. And then Ghost goes out because the woman who runs the place is, you know, still looking. They're looking for Cat, because Cat's been missing for like over 6 months. He went to go fishing one day and never came back. So they're not sure if he's dead or, you know, he got captured. And so they're kind of like, they're at a loss, you know, because I would say the woman who is running that place and kind of like, you know, telling people what they should do, she's kind of definitely in way over her head, you know, definitely in way over her head. And so you've got this one guy who looks like he could be doing a mutiny because he's a dick. You know, he's all like, you know, you don't know how to run this place, kind of like just really giving her like a hard time. And you could tell like she's intimidated by this guy, you know. So Ghost goes, because she kind of pushes him to go out, like keep trying to see if you can find some clues of where Cat is. So Ghost doesn't want to go out, but he ends up going back out, runs into a couple of monsters, gets caught in the rain, comes back, and he's kind of like not really feeling good. He's kind of sick. So One starts talking to him, you know, the monster One starts talking to Ghost, and they start to befriend each other. And I'd say he kind of, you know, is a nice caretaking scene where he's like trying to take care of him and, you know, getting him like food and different things like that. So I thought that was kind of sweet. And One is very like, very meek and shy and really kind of like mild mannered. And so you're thinking to yourself, like, this creature is not like intimidating at all. You know, I feel sorry for, you know, the creature that it got taken and tortured. So this other creature comes in, Moth. I guess that's they've known this creature Moth for a while, and Moth is like, hey, that creature is like one of the deadliest creatures, you know, telling about the, you know, winged creature, that creature is really dangerous. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, what's so dangerous about this creature? This creature's never given off like this, any kind of like, you know, the vibes of like being dangerous. So Ghost and One start to get romantically involved. And so One is like, well, you know, my name is Ari, you know, Ari, it's A-U-R-Y, Ari. And so Ari's like, you know, you could see like wants to be with, you know, Ghost. And Ghost is like, well, call me Gage, that's my real name. And so from what I'm thinking is that he could be possible former military, or like he's afraid the military of knowing his name, you know, so that's why he calls himself Ghost. And so they're involved right now. And then that's pretty much the gist of like what I've gotten up to. Like, Ghost has to go back out again, because he kind of keeps getting forced back out. Because they're like, oh, well, Ghost can do it. Ghost can be the, go ahead and be the bait, man. Don't have anybody else pull their weight, in that place, especially that one who's a fucking dick. The woman was like, why don't you go out, and he was basically trying to do a mutiny of like, why are you telling me what to do kind of thing. And so I was like, this guy's a dick. I'm like, I don't trust this motherfucker right here. I'm like, I don't trust this guy. So so that's where we're at right now. And like I said, it's not as good. I will say that. This story's not as good. It's a little bit boring. And with all the other cast of characters, it kind of like, it bloats the book a little bit. So I'm trying to get through the book just to get through it. I probably will end up giving it a 3 at the end of the day. Like once I finish this, it'll probably be a 3, because there are some parts of it that are a little bit like drag on, a little bit boring, and I'm kind of like thinking to myself, come on, let's go, let's get to it, kind of thing. So I definitely feel like some parts kind of drag on a little bit more than they should. I like the relationship between Ari and Gage. It's really sweet. They're kind of like, they were really shy around each other and not sure how they, do that. But once they kind of like kissed, it was basically on. It was on like Donkey Kong. So yeah, they kind of got really intimate like really fast. And so I'm curious though. I'm like, well, what makes this creature so dangerous? What is it? Now he has like these talons like in the back area, obviously, that are like sharp. And because when him and Gage were like engaging in, stuff, he ended up cutting himself on Ari's talon. And so Ari, like, you could tell, like, felt really bad. Was like, I'm sorry, and it's like, it was so sweet because he's like, he cares quickly and deeply for Gage, So I was like, it's really sweet. It's a sweet story. But also, I will say, like, there are some parts that really drag on, and the story needed to be tightened up a little bit more, tightened up better, for it to be a little better than what it is. But I will say that the scenes when it comes to Gage and Ari are really sweet, and I'm just curious of like, how is he dangerous? He just seems very meek and mild and just very, like a very gentle creature. So it's like, how is this creature dangerous? I'm like, what do they give off? Like, if they bite you, is it like poisonous or something? I don't know. And also like his tongue, it kind of reminds me of a snake tongue because it's black and it's forked. So I'm thinking to myself, is it possible that it's kind of like almost like a snake where if it bites you, it's like poisonous, so it could kill you? I don't know. So I'm very, very curious to continue on with the story, even though, like I said, there's some parts that just kind of really drag on. But I'm trying to get through that book because there's a couple of other books that have since come out that I need to get to and read. Like one of them is the Anna Huang book, Twist of Lies. I really need to read that one because I've been really liking that series so far. Mostly. The last book, I liked it, but there was a scene and Twisted Hate that I really disliked, and I was like, no. So kind of lowered my liking for it, but otherwise, I did like the book. So Twisted Lies, I need to get to by Anna Huang, and then also I need to get to the Juliet Cross book, Bright Like Wildfire, I think it's called. I need to get to that one because it's like a small town romance. So I'm really trying to get through this book so that way I can go and delve into those other books. But yeah, that's my update so far. It seems like a really long update. when I update again, I'll try to make it shorter so that way I can finish off this, you know, finish this off and post this. So yeah, I will update you all later with whatever I finish. Okay, update. I went and I finished the Rycke, and my closing thoughts would be, I gave it 3 stars. The things that kind of bothered me about the story were the fact that it was too much character bloat, and it just kind of took away from the main character's story. And there were bouts of the book that were a bit boring to me, like certain scenes that I felt like just kind of like dragged on for too long, that I was like, you know. So that, to me, I was like, I wished it was a little bit tightened up a little bit more. But other than that, I really thought like the love story between Gage, you know, who's Ghost, and Ari was really sweet. When people were like, he's dangerous, there was a part in the scene that happened that I was like, holy crap, he went and turned into this like monstrous beast. That was a bad scene. I was like, that scene was just like, holy crap. But it was only because Ari would, once he bonded to his mate, if anybody tried to threaten his mate, he would transform and protect his mate. And so that's basically what happened. And so at first, Gage was a little bit, you know, like in shock of the whole thing, like just seeing people like just, you know, how Ari, you know, took care of them was a bit jarring, and that would be for anybody, you know. So I understand Gage's shock. I think that would shock anybody. So yeah, I was just like, wow. But you know, it was still enjoyable, but like I said, it lacked certain things lacked, and so it made the story a little less enjoyable for me, and that's why I ultimately had to give it like 3 stars. But yeah, so yeah, and I'm gonna try to finish up my book that I'm reading, the Not the Witch You Wed, finish that up, and then, you know, update and finish off this vlog because it'll be way too long. Okay, last update. So I ended up DNFing this, and it's not like there's anything wrong with the book. There was a lot of like stuff going on in the story that I just really didn't care about. Like her going off to parties and all this other stuff. There's a lot of like, oh, I guess you could say like a lot of setting up the story in this. So you get to know all of like basically the whole cast of characters that might be involved in like these stories here. So besides like the main heroine and the hero that are supposed to get involved with each other, you've got like her sisters and all of the other people that are involved with this, you know, like the werewolf shifters and witches and you know, whatever name you, that's like paranormal type thing. Like there was even like succubis in here, like sex succubis and all that stuff, and I'm just like, I don't really want to read about all this other stuff. So I just wanted to focus on the couple. So even though I thought the author has a good sense of humor, and I laughed at like the beginning part, I thought it was really funny. There has to be a balance between humor in the book and the romance. If I don't feel like the romance is there, I kind of tune out. I want a good balance of humor and having the couple get together, you know. And it's not just, for me, it's not just the intimate scenes that I care about. It's the journey of them discovering that they have feelings for each other and all that stuff. So, for me, it was like a lot more stuff. Like, I would say, like, this is one reason why I am going through my TBR and really kind of cleaning out a lot of the books that I have, because I definitely realize I like more of a small town romance. I like more small town romances. And as you can see from the cover, this is in the city. So it's like, if you're into clubbing and all this different stuff, nightclubs and things like that, I hate city life. I've been in the city before. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like that kind of lifestyle. I would absolutely loathe living in New York City, because I don't like that type of lifestyle. You have to be a certain type of person who likes living in that type of lifestyle. I don't. I like more of the quiet. I like, you know, boring, I guess you could say. I like boring. I don't want to go and hear all of these noises of like city life. It's just not my thing. Especially like the prices of city life. No, thank you. So, so for me, I kind of lost interest in this book, and I really just was like, I don't really care. So unfortunately, I have to DNF this one too. So this is basically a big vlog of me DNFing a lot of books. I did finish the one book, even though I was a little disappointed in it. But yeah, I am trying to be a little bit more picky on what I pick up, what I buy. Instead of just buying books that look good, I want to make sure that I'm actually going to enjoy the book. So what I've been doing lately is either picking up like used cheap books, or picking up maybe books that I already read. That's why I wish more of these books were like available on Kindle and they didn't charge you a lot of money. Like I went and I picked up Dating Dr. Dill. I bought that on an ebook. You know, I went and bought that from Kindle. And that damn thing was like $9.99. That is the most expensive I will pay for a Kindle story. It's not even a book. It's a Kindle. You know, it's an ebook. So to me, I'm like, I just don't like to spend that amount of money for a book I'm not sure I'm going to like. To me, it's just more and more, I'm like, I feel like I'm wasting my money. So I'm really trying to tighten up the purse strings and really just stick with like used books I can find someplace that are like cheap, that I could buy for cheap. Or like say going over to like Barnes and Noble, if it's like a traditionally published book, going over to like Barnes and Noble, reading like a few chapters while I'm in the store, and then if I'm like, I don't really care for this, I can just put it away. I'm the type where I'm like, I kind of like, I go in and I try to be like as gentle as I can with the book, and then I just kind of like go through like at least a few chapters, and if I'm like, I don't really like this writer's writing, then I know I'm not going to enjoy the book, and I could just put it back on the shelf and do it like that. Some people may be like, oh, well, you're still reading the story, but I'm not reading the whole thing. It's not like I'm reading the whole book and putting it back on the shelf. I'm just reading like either a chapter or two just to see if it's something where it's like piques my interest. Because that's the thing with books. The first chapter, you have to have that hook. You got to have that hook to keep people reading, because if you don't have that hook, it's hard to keep people wanting to continue to read that book. If the hook doesn't hook you, you know, then it's hard to kind of keep going. So with that book there, Dating Dr. Dill, I read like a chapter and I was like, I don't know. I don't like this writer's writing. I don't like it. So I end up DNFing the book. Now I'm the type of person where if I buy a Kindle book, you know, or if I buy, you know, a book like this, I don't return it after I've read it. You know, even if say I only read like a few chapters in the book and I want to return it, I don't do that. I don't feel right about it. That's why I said, like, if I'm at Barnes and Noble, I could just go through like a chapter or two, and then I don't have to purchase it, because ultimately the author ends up getting, like, she ends up getting the downside, because the bookstore, they don't want to, you know, have it to where they're not making a profit, so they end up dinging the author. So I don't want to do that. So for me, I'm like, I'd rather, like, if I'm interested in something traditional, which I have not really been interested lately, I'm more into like the indie authors, then I will pick up something traditionally, where I know that maybe within the few chapters I like the story. So that's pretty much how I've decided to do it. And I'm gonna, you know, this is gonna be a series for me, where I'm gonna continue to get through these books. Now, if you're not interested in this type of series, because it could be more of like me just DNFing these books because I'm not interested in them, and they don't, you know, they're not hooking me. If you're not into these types of videos, you may want to skip these. I'm only going to be doing these like once a month, because I kind of feel like if you do it every week, it's kind of a downer, you know? So I'd rather just do this like once a month, where I pick up like how many books at random that are on my TBR shelf that I need to get to, and decide whether or not I want to keep them, or, you know, DNF them and move on with my life. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. Like I said, if it's not your type of tea, you don't really like this, you can skip this video, you know, if you don't want to watch that type of thing. Because I understand there's people who don't like, you know, more negative stuff. They like more of the positive of what you really enjoyed and all that. So yeah. But yeah, that's end for this video. I'm going to try to tighten this up a little bit, maybe for my next video, like part 2, when I do that next month. So that way it's not so long. But I've been trying to, like, get through how many books on my TBR that are just sitting there. But yeah, that's it for this video here. I'm sad that I didn't like these books. I really wish that I did, but unfortunately, just not every book's gonna work for everybody, you know, so that's just life. So yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourself a good day, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and I will see you all on the next video. All right, bye.